Alan Godsev. I'm Program Director at the International Business School in Budapest, and I've come here with the support of Egida, who are our recruitment representatives for Serbia. So very pleased to be here. It's been great fun.
Nice. Is this your first time here?
Yes, strangely enough. I worked for many years as the Regional Director of the World Travel and Tourism Council, and I've done tourism strategy plans for many of the countries in this region, but for some reason I've never made it to Serbia. So this was a first, and I'm absolutely delighted. And considering you're less than 3 hours away from my home in Budapest, I cannot believe I've never done it before. So we're going to have to put that one right, aren't we?
My name's James Cannell. I'm from the University of Greenwich in London in the UK, and I'm a lecturer in tourism and also in events management. So I do a lot of research around especially the relationship between culture and tourism and events. I'm really interested in how cities and countries can use culture to bring people, to bring new visitors from overseas, and that's why I'm here to talk about that today.
I'm Angela Benson. I work at the University of Brighton, which is on the south coast of the UK, and my main topic area that I teach on is tourism. So we have students just like here, undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD students, who will study in tourism.
My name is Peng Yuanqiang from China. Between the relationship of China and Serbia have a very good relationship. And I study in Slovenia, the capital, Ljubljana, for a master degree for tourism master. I just begin my this degree from October, and our faculty and organize to participate in this conference. I have very happy experience in here.
How long do you do that type of job? How long you are in tourism and in all that?
I've been at the University of Greenwich for 10 years, and before that I worked for the British Council, and part of the work that I did there was looking at how different cultures and different countries communicate with each other. And then before that I worked around sort of cultural events and festivals, and especially the music industry. So I've had my whole career looking at these kind of issues.
How you decided to come to study to this region?
The Balkan region is an emerging market for the incoming tourists from China, and between the former Yugoslavia and China have the same this emotional the value like this. And the second hand, in last year I exchanged study by Chinese government sent me to the Maribor, Slovenia. So after my exchange study, I decided to continually in the tourism area and continually in Slovenia. Thank you.
You like this region?
Yes.
Well, I've been lecturing for 20 years, and I think one of the greatest things about this is that you actually get to travel and you get to meet interesting people in interesting parts of the world, and you get to meet really great students. And it doesn't matter whether they're students from here, whether they're students from China or UK, there's always an energy around student cohorts, which is great.
How often do you have opportunity to go in some other parts of Europe or world or this kind of congress?
I'm really lucky because of my job, because I'm a lecturer, and because of the kind of research that I do, that I get to travel all around the world and speak to conferences. So I've been to Indonesia, I've been to Thailand, I've been to lots of different parts of Europe to speak about my research and to come to events like this. But recently I've started to come to more events in this region. So recently I've been to Montenegro, I've been to Croatia, this is my second time in Serbia speaking to students. And this for me is the most exciting place at the moment. This is where there's so many new developments and so many young people who just really want to get out and experience things and develop the tourism industry. I love coming here.
Well, quite a lot actually. Most of my teaching is overseas, so I teach in Switzerland and Holland, and I'm teaching in Austria this year as well. So, but since September this year, I've been to Copenhagen, Iceland, Holland, Switzerland, here in Serbia, and I will go to Australia all before Christmas. So I do quite a lot of travelling with my job. Some of that's conferences like this, some of it's teaching, and some of it's to do with meetings, and they were just talking about Erasmus schemes. So I'm linked to a Tempus project which will become Erasmus in the future, linked to some Russian universities. So, so part of that's been my travel as well. So you travel for a mixture of reasons, really.
How do you like this seminar?
The Novi Sad Student Tourism Congress, yeah. I'm enjoying it. This is my first time to the Vojvodina area, yes. And this for last night I went to a party with my colleagues. This is a very good opportunity, both me and our Balkan students, to make acquainted each other, because we are also studying the tourism field. So in the future, maybe we will work together or have business cooperation together. Yes.
That is very nice.
Yes.
What is the good and bad side of Serbian tourism?
I'll start with the bad things, because then I can end with the good things. Okay? I think I've only been to Serbia twice. I've been to Belgrade, and now I'm in Novi Sad. I think there's a lot of development to be done. Okay? For Belgrade to move from being a city where people just stay for 2 nights, there's a lot of business tourism, there's a lot of young people. There's a lot of work to be done to make that offer something that will make people stay for longer. Okay? So developing cultural tourism, developing festivals and events, things that make people want to stay in the region. Things like Exit. The Exit Festival in Novi Sad is amazing. People know about that all over the world. The region needs more like that. It can't just be Novi Sad, Exit. It has to be what happens in Belgrade, what happens in all these different regions of the country. I think that's where things need to improve. More events, more festivals, and also maybe some more, especially in Belgrade, some more openness to international tourists. There are other cities that Belgrade can probably learn from, places like Prague, Budapest, which were in very similar positions 20 years ago, and they worked really hard to make themselves open to international tourists. And it wasn't easy, and it cost some money, but now you can see in those cities they have this massive international tourism market that gives people jobs, it gives people opportunities. I think that's what needs to happen.
What I've seen so far is amazing. I mean, I'm staying in the hotel up on the fortress, and as I'm looking along the Danube and looking at the facilities around, and the more I learn about the country, I really think that there's huge potential, but I think you have the same challenge that many of the countries in this region had maybe 10, 15 years ago, and that's a lack of awareness. We don't know what to expect. There is no image. And what image there is probably a little negative because of history, and you really are going to need to work at redressing that, but not through saying, oh, we're not like that, but by promoting the many good things that I can see. I
know very little about Serbia, actually, and I think that's really interesting. Most of my travel and most of my research has been in Asia. So, that's a part of the world that I know very well. And I know bits of Europe well, the trips to Paris and, the trips to Venice and those sorts of things. But actually, this part of the world I don't know very much about. So when I got invited, it's like, that's fantastic. The one thing that I will say is, though, that the hospitality here is lovely. Everybody, from being picked up at the airport, to right now talking to you, everybody has been, really lovely. So it's great.
How was it to study in China, and how is it to study here? What is the difference?
For the one hand, we can know that we have different the building style. For example, in China, generally speaking, we have all different faculties in same the campus and have wall around it. This I said. Another I said the Serbian and European the university is more open because the faculty is individually and even when I study in Slovenia, both Maribor University and Ljubljana, the library is open to the citizens. Yeah, I hope China's library also. Yeah.
What do you have to say about Asia part of your exploring experience? And you had also some class over there, or you?
I did lots of research over this. So I was researching volunteers. So I spent some time in Malaysia. I spent some time in Indonesia.
What is the most beautiful thing there that everybody has to see?
Well, I suppose the beaches, really. I mean, you know, I've been very lucky that I've spent lots of time on fantastic beaches. You know, all the ones they show you in the travel brochures. You know, the fantastic long beach, white sandy beach with the palm trees hanging over. So yeah, I mean, you know, but again, you know, the people have been are very kind, very nice. But then I think if you're nice and positive when you go to places, I think that's often responded to as well. So I think that's a two-way street. I think that's just about, you know, being a global citizen.
I'm from China, so when I was child, I know this country. We always help each other. So it's totally same. My the expression when I before I went to Belgrade, I feel this is a hospitable people and have different food. And reality, when I visit Belgrade, is totally same. My imagination, yes, always get help from the local people.
What did you expect? Is that different maybe than your expectations?
Having travelled to most of the countries in the region, I probably travel with a different expectation. What I'm really seeing here in Serbia is something that I was probably looking at in one or two of the other countries, maybe sort of 10 years ago in terms of level of development. But what amazed me when I arrived in the hotel was the quality of service, which I wasn't expecting, frankly.
But the one thing I really did notice is as we drove into the area, coming over the bridge is fantastic. It was like, that's so lovely, and you know, and the Danube's there, and obviously because it's all lit, it's got all the urban lights. It's like, this is really pretty.
So you like the city?
Very nice. Yeah. What I've seen so far, it looks great.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about people, can you maybe describe Serbian people in few words or sentences?
How would I describe Serbian people? Friendly, welcoming, energetic, partying. Seeing a lot of partying, and working hard. This is clearly a country of people who work hard and who want to develop. I'm saying students are some of the best students I've ever taught in this region because they turn up, they ask questions, they're prepared, they're serious, they take their career development seriously. Serbia is quite a serious country. I think it's like party hard and work hard.
Did you learn anything from Serbian language?
Of course, but I have some lazy. But I of course study like the Norwegian, the Zdravo, Kakosi Day. I will continue to study. The territory of all European countries maybe it's same the area, but China the majority just one language, Mandarin. But the European country is a different independent country. So I should enhance my language ability.
I can say dobar dan,
Nice.
and I can say hvala and molin. And that is enough. That is usually enough to get me into a restaurant and buy some food. But I'd love to learn more Serbian.
I can teach you something more. What you would like?
How do I say welcome to my lecture? Because then when I speak to the students later on, I can say it in Serbian. How do I say welcome to my lecture?
Dobrodošli
Dobrodošli
na moje predavanje.
predavanje.
That's good.
Are you originally from Budapest?
No. Somebody said today that you speak quite good English for somebody that lives in Budapest, but no, actually I come from London, from South London originally. Yes. So no, but I've spent the last 25 years in Budapest, so and I've sort of grown up during the changes, which has been an amazing time of my life. I have no regrets at all. It's been wonderful. I've worked in Romania, in Crimea, in Russia, in Uzbekistan, and developing tourism in all of those areas, so it's been very exciting.
Tell us something about your hometown in China.
Yeah, my hometown is also like some famous attractions in Serbia. My hometown, Uyishan, is a UNESCO heritage, both natural and cultural. I feel that it look like some famous attractions near the niche have some lakes and rivers around my hometown. Yeah, and my hometown, the climate is general, it's warm. This is different to the Serbia. In the Slovenia and Serbia, the winter will fall the snow. But in my hometown, it's seldom have snow. Yeah.
I live in London.
You were born in London?
I wasn't born in London. I was born in Kent, which is just outside of, about 50 miles outside of London.
Okay, you can tell us a little bit something more about Kent, and after that about.
Okay. So I'm from a town called Ashford in Kent, and it's a small town, and it was very famous 150 years ago for the railways, the big railway works. And over the years, it changed and it became a farming town. Now it's really cultural. It's got lots of arts activity going on there. The local council is really supporting culture and the arts. All around it is beautiful countryside. We have lovely fields and farms. We have great food as well. Maybe not quite as good as the food I've had in Serbia, I think, to be honest. But yeah, English food, we have a lot of fish and chips. We have a lot of roast beef and roast dinner. That's all true. But where I come from is quite quiet and quite calm. But now I live in London. And London is the complete opposite. London is busy and loud, and there are millions of people. And everyone wants to come and visit. Everybody wants to come and visit. They say, you're in London, come and stay with you. I'll come and stay with you because it's cheap to stay in my flat. So they want to come and stay with me, and they say this question, where should they go? What should they see in London? And of course you've got Buckingham Palace and Tower Bridge and all of these fantastic things. But the place I would send people now is the Olympic Park in London, because after the 2012 Olympics, a whole area of London was redeveloped. And where I am at the University of Greenwich, we're just on the edge of all that new development. So we have this beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site that we're in with amazing buildings. And then you just go 10 minutes down the road and you're into the new Olympic Park. And it has a 60,000 capacity stadium, it has beautiful gardens, amazing shopping. It has events there all year, music, concerts, sports events. I was there just a few weeks ago as part of the Rugby World Cup that was happening. It's a really exciting, dynamic part of the city, and probably not somewhere that a lot of tourists go. Most tourists stay in the centre. I would say if you come to London, go out to the edges. Go and see the new spaces of London, because that's the future.
I'm from the south coast, and people would say that the south coast is warmer than the north, So it's only a couple of degrees warmer, but you know, people say live in the south because it's a little bit nicer, a little bit warmer. And we don't get much warm weather in England, so that's important to us. Brighton is lovely. They call Brighton London by the sea. So it's, you know, it has a city atmosphere, but because it's by the sea, you know, it's very popular in the summer with people come in for day trips, spending time on the beach. Just they have concerts on the beach, and so yeah, it's, you know, it's a very nice part of England. It's a nice place to visit.
Do you know that we have a lot of people from England here during Exit Festival, and they have so special energy here for this city.
Everybody knows about
a lot
Exit.
of people.
Everybody knows about. Actually, 4 years ago, I wrote a case study of the Exit Festival.
Really?
So I published an event with my co-authors from the University of Greenwich, Charles Bladen, Emma Abson and Nick Wilde. We published an events management textbook, and in that textbook I wrote a case study of Exit as an example of how events can be used to change destinations. That Exit has its roots in a political movement. Exit has its roots in the opposition to Milosevic, and then turned into this amazing techno festival that uses the cultural heritage of Novi Sad, uses that unique. You have to tell me how to pronounce it. The fortress. How do I say that? Fortress. The fortress. It's this fortress. Petrovaradin. That's it. It uses the Petrovaradin fortress, but everybody all over the world knows about Exit. Okay? And how many people knew about Novi Sad in Colombia before Exit? How many people in London could point to Novi Sad and Belgrade on a map? Exit has put Serbia on the map, and it's just amazing. The music is really good, the crowds are really good, it's seen as a very safe festival. If I was going to send my children to a music festival a long way away, Exit's okay. Okay? Exit is okay, it's safe, it's friendly, but the music is fantastic.
What are your plans and what you think about the future in your job area, Serbia and everything?
Right. What we are hoping is that we will have even more Serbian students coming to IBS. I've had a number already, and they've been very successful. They've all gone on to do really good jobs, not just in tourism, but in finance and other aspects as well. But working more closely with Egida, we really do hope that we'll have a lot more from Novi Sad, Belgrade, and from all over the country, because I do find that they are actually very dedicated when, you know, they're not sort of party animals. They do come in to learn, and they're serious about the whole thing, which is what I like. I like their approach.
What are your plans, and will you come back to Serbia? What do you think?
I will come back during next year summer because I have experienced work for a tour leader, bring the Chinese tourists to around the year, around the travel in Balkan countries. So last year, I guess summer back, we will visit the Belgrade and also Novi Sad, because you know this time I should study the history, the natural and different fields of Novi Sad, and next time when the summer I can confident to introduce to the Chinese tourists about the Serbian and Novi Sad.
One of my main message to the students at the end of the presentation was really, because my presentation was about volunteering, was that actually I think it's really interesting that the concept of volunteering and travel and volunteering being a way to be mobile, for it to create social mobility, is really important. And I think it's something that the students here will engage with in the future. And I think it's great, and especially when they were talking about Erasmus Plus, and that volunteering now is a part of Erasmus Plus as well. I think it's a great way for students to learn and to change and to put that experience on their CV, taking them towards employability and those sorts of things. I think it gives them mobility, and I think that's really important in today's world.
I think what I would say to students who are here is listen, write notes, but get in touch with us. Like, actually, we're all quite approachable. One thing I've noticed about speaking in this region is that students ask lots of questions. They'll ask lots of questions. They're taking their studies really, really seriously. And I would say to those students, get in touch with me on Facebook, get in touch with me on LinkedIn especially, send me emails, let's stay connected. Because actually, if you're working in tourism, you have to be connected to people internationally. And it might be that one of those students is going to come to London, maybe to get some work experience, to work in a hotel in London. They could get in touch with me. I might be able to help them find a training course or put them in touch with somebody that I know. Build your professional networks. Use events like this as an opportunity to build up a network and stay in touch. We're quite friendly.